My seat at Thanksgiving dinner was left empty while everyone laughed and ate. My mother-in-law said, "She'll learn soon." I smiled and showed the video. She stole the food. Their faces turned pale as I left with their gifts and money. So picture this: I'm married to this guy Mark for 3 years now, right? And his family has always been sketchy about me. Like, they're polite to my face, but I catch those little side glances. You know what I mean? His mom, Linda especially, she's one of those Southern belle types who acts all sweet but has daggers behind her smile. Anyway, this whole mess started about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I'm scrolling through Facebook when I see Linda posted about hosting the big family dinner at her place. Normal stuff, except when I read through the comments. I noticed something weird. Everyone's talking about who's bringing what, seating arrangements, the whole 9 yards. But here's the kicker. Nobody mentioned me. Not once. I'm thinking maybe it's just an oversight, so I text Mark about it. He gets all weird and defensive, saying his mom probably just forgot to include me in the group chat or whatever. Red flag. Number 1, but I let it slide because, hey, benefit of the doubt and all that. Fast forward to the week of Thanksgiving. I'm at Target picking up some nice candles and wine to bring to dinner, because that's what you do, right? You don't show up empty-handed. While I'm there, I bump into Mark's sister Sarah. We're making small talk when she drops this bomb. "Oh, you're still planning to come Thursday? I thought maybe you and Mark were doing your own thing this year." I'm like, what? Why would she think that? But she just shrugs and says something about how Linda mentioned I might not be able to make it. The whole conversation felt off, like she knew something I didn't. That night, I confront Mark again. This time, I'm not letting him brush me off. Turns out, his precious mother had been telling everyone I was having second thoughts about coming to dinner. Apparently, she'd been spreading this story about how I was uncomfortable with the family traditions or some garbage like that. Mark swears he didn't know, but honestly, I could see it in his eyes. He knew exactly what his mom was up to and just didn't have the spine to stand up to her. Classic mama's boy behavior. So here's where it gets interesting. Instead of starting a big fight or causing drama, I decide to play it smart. I tell Mark I'm totally fine with going to dinner, act all understanding about the miscommunication, and even offer to help Linda with the cooking. But here's the thing. I'm not stupid. I can smell a setup from a mile away. These people were planning something, and I was going to be ready for whatever they threw at me. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I call Linda to ask if she needs any help with prep. She's all fake sweet on the phone, telling me not to worry about bringing anything, that she has everything handled. But then she mentions, almost casually, that she's been having trouble with her security cameras lately. They keep glitching and not recording properly. That's when the light bulb goes off. This woman is up to something, and she's making sure there won't be any evidence of it. Update. Hey everyone, thanks for following along with this crazy story. I know some of you are probably thinking I'm being paranoid, but trust me, my gut was screaming that something was wrong. The question is, should I have confronted my husband's family directly, or was I right to keep quiet and see what they were really planning? Things are about to get wild. So Wednesday night, I'm lying in bed pretending to sleep while Mark's next to me scrolling through his phone. I can see he's texting someone, and from the angle, I catch glimpses of a group chat with his family. I can't read everything, but I definitely see my name and something about teaching her a lesson. At this point, I'm done playing games. These people want to mess with me? Fine, but I'm going to be 10 steps ahead of them. Thursday morning, I get up early and do something I've never done before. I set up my phone to record everything. Not just obvious recording, but I download this app that lets you record audio and video discreetly. I'm talking hidden camera mode, because whatever these people have planned, I want proof. I also do something else smart. I hide my good jewelry, make sure my car keys are easily accessible, and I even transfer some money from our joint account to my personal account. Not a lot, just enough to make a point if things go sideways. Mark's acting normal, maybe a little nervous, but nothing too obvious. We stop by CVS to grab some last-minute stuff, and I pick up one of those small portable phone chargers. If I'm going to be recording all day, I need my battery to last. We show up to Linda's house around 2 p.m. The whole family's there: Mark's dad Robert, his sister Sarah, and her husband Tim, his brother Jake with his girlfriend of the month, and Linda's sister Patricia, who's visiting from Atlanta. Right off the bat, something feels off. Everyone's a little too cheerful, like they're all in on some inside joke. Linda hugs me and goes, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so glad you could make it. We weren't sure if you'd show up." I just smile and hand her the wine I brought, even though she specifically told me not to bring anything. Wouldn't miss it for the world, Linda. First hour goes pretty normally. We're all sitting in the living room, watching football, making small talk. The guys are drinking Bud Light. The women are sipping on this wine Linda made that honestly tastes like fruit punch mixed with rubbing alcohol. But here's where I start noticing things. Every time I get up to use the bathroom or help in the kitchen, someone follows me. When I offer to help set the table, Linda waves me off and says she has it handled. When I try to peek at the dining room, Sarah literally blocks my view and starts asking me about work. Around 4 p.m., Linda announces dinner is ready. Everyone starts filing into the dining room, and that's when I see it. The table is set for 7 people. 7. There are 8 of us. I count again, thinking maybe I missed something. Nope. 7 place settings, 7 chairs, 7 of everything. And guess whose spot is missing? Mine. I'm standing in the doorway, just staring at this table, and everyone else is already sitting down, acting like nothing's wrong. Mark looks up at me with this sheepish expression, and I can tell he knew this was coming. Linda's at the head of the table, and she looks at me with this sickeningly sweet smile. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I must have miscounted when I was setting up. Here, let me grab you a chair from the kitchen. But she doesn't move. Nobody moves. They're all just sitting there, some of them trying not to smile, waiting to see what I'll do. That's when Linda drops the bomb. You know, sweetie, maybe this is a sign. Maybe you should learn that not everyone gets a seat at the family table. It has to be earned. The room goes dead silent. Even the football game in the background seems quieter. Update. Okay, y'all, I'm literally shaking typing this part. The disrespect was unreal. But here's my question. If you walked into a room and your own family treated you like this, would you have stayed to fight it out, or would you have left immediately? Because what I did next changed everything. I look around the table at all these faces, people I've known for 3 years, people I've spent holidays with, bought Christmas gifts for, remembered birthdays for, and they're all just sitting there like this is completely normal. Mark finally speaks up, but not to defend me. He goes, Mom, maybe we can just squeeze in another chair. Not, this is unacceptable, or how dare you treat my wife this way. Just a weak suggestion about squeezing in another chair. Linda waves him off. Oh, don't worry about it. She can eat in the kitchen. There's a perfectly good TV tray in there. A TV tray, like I'm a child being punished. But here's the thing. While they're all having their little power trip, they have no idea I've been recording everything. My phone's been capturing audio this whole time, and when I walked into the dining room, I made sure to get a clear shot of that table with the 7 place settings. So instead of making a scene or storming out like they probably expected, I just smile. You know what, Linda? You're absolutely right. Not everyone earns their place at the table. I pull out my phone and start tapping on the screen. Speaking of earning things, I think everyone should see what you've really earned. The mood in the room shifts immediately. Linda's smile falters, and Mark straightens up in his chair. What are you talking about? Linda asks, but I can hear the nervousness in her voice. I turn my phone around so everyone can see the screen. Well, since you mentioned your security cameras have been acting up, I thought you might want to see this footage from Tuesday night. See, here's what I didn't tell you earlier. Tuesday night, after I talked to Linda on the phone, I got suspicious. So I drove by her house around 10 p.m. just to see if anything weird was going on. And boy, was I right to be suspicious. I caught Linda and Patricia loading bags of food into Patricia's car. Not just any food, the expensive stuff, the organic, turkey, the fancy side dishes, the wine I could see they'd bought for the dinner. They were literally stealing the food meant for Thanksgiving dinner and replacing it with cheap substitutes. But wait, it gets better. I followed them to Patricia's house and recorded them dividing everything up. They were planning to keep the good food for themselves and serve the family the cheap knockoffs. Linda was even laughing about how nobody would know the difference, especially that little princess, meaning me. The video shows everything. Linda loading organic sweet potatoes into Patricia's trunk, while a bag of regular potatoes sits in her garage. Patricia carrying out the butterball turkey while a generic store brand sits on Linda's counter. They even switched out the expensive wine with some discount stuff from Walmart. As the video plays, I watch everyone's faces around the table. Sarah's mouth is hanging open. Robert looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Jake is actually laughing, but not in a good way. And Mark? Mark looks like he wants to disappear into the floor. But Linda? Linda's face goes through about 5 different emotions before settling on pure rage. How dare you spy on me? She shrieks. This is my house, and you have no right. Actually, I interrupt, I have every right to record what happens on a public street. And I have every right to know when someone's planning to scam me and my husband. I pause the video on a perfect shot of Linda stuffing the organic cranberry sauce into Patricia's car. See, the funny thing is, Mark and I contributed $300 toward this dinner. You remember, Linda? You said you needed help covering the costs of feeding everyone? The room is dead silent now. Even the football game seems to have gone quiet. So, not only did you plan to humiliate me by not giving me a seat at the table, but you were also going to feed us cheap food while keeping the expensive stuff we paid for. That's theft, Linda. Plain and simple. Robert finally speaks up. Linda, what is she talking about? What, $300? Turns out Linda had been telling everyone different stories about who was contributing what to the dinner. She told Robert she was covering everything herself. She told Sarah that Mark and I couldn't afford to contribute. She told Jake that his dad was paying for most of it. Meanwhile, she'd collected money from half the family and was planning to pocket the difference by serving us dollar store food while keeping the good stuff for herself and Patricia. Update. Holy smokes, the comments on this are insane. Some of you called exactly what was going to happen next. But here's the thing that's killing me. Should I have exposed her in front of everyone or handled this privately? Because what happened after I showed that video literally changed the entire family dynamic forever. As everyone's processing what they just saw, Linda tries to go on the attack. Even if that's true, it doesn't give you the right to humiliate me in my own home. But Patricia, bless her heart, throws Linda right under the bus. Linda, you told me they wouldn't notice. You said they were all too stupid to know good food. From cheap food. The family erupts. Robert's demanding to know how much money Linda collected from everyone. Sarah's asking why she wasn't told about contributing money. Jake's asking if this is why the turkey tastes weird. And Mark finally grows a spine. Mom, what the heck is wrong with you? Why would you do this to us? To her? Linda tries to play the victim. I was just trying to save money. Times are hard, and you thought you'd steal from your own family. I finish, and humiliate me in the process. That's when I drop the real bombshell. You know what, Linda? You're right about one thing. Not everyone earns their place at the table, but the person who doesn't deserve to be here isn't me. I walk over to where she's sitting and lean down so I'm eye level with her. It's you. Then I stand up and address the whole room. Since Linda likes games so much, let's play one. Everyone who contributed money to this dinner, raise your hand. 4 hands go up. Mine, Mark's, Robert's, and Sarah's. Now, everyone who knew about Linda's little food swapping scheme, raise your hand. Only Patricia raises her hand, looking absolutely mortified. Perfect. So Linda stole from 4 people, lied to 7 people, and planned to humiliate me in front of everyone. Patricia helped her. Everyone else here is as much a victim as I am. I look around the room at all these shocked faces. Here's what's going to happen. Linda and Patricia are going to return every cent they stole from this family. They're going to apologize to everyone they lied to, and they're going to leave this dinner that they ruined with their greed and pettiness. Linda jumps up from her chair. This is my house. You can't kick me out of my own house. You're right, I say calmly. I can't kick you out, but I can leave, and I can take everything that belongs to me with me. See, here's the thing Linda didn't know. For the past 3 Thanksgivings, I'd been bringing way more than just wine and candles. I'd been contributing to a family gift fund that Linda organized every year. Money for Robert's Christmas present, money for the grandkids' toys, money for the big family vacation they planned every summer. This year alone, Mark and I had contributed $800 to various family funds that Linda managed. Money that was sitting in her purse right now, along with the contributions from everyone else. I walk over to where Linda left her purse and pick it up. Hey, put that down, she shrieks. Gladly, I say, and I dump the entire contents onto the dining room table. Right after I take back what belongs to me and my husband. Bills scatter across the table. Credit cards, receipts, and an envelope labeled Family Fund, with over $1,500 in cash. I count out our $800, plus the $300 we contributed to the dinner. Robert, you contributed $400 to the Christmas fund, right? Here's your money. Sarah, you put in $200 for the vacation fund. Here you go. One by one, I return everyone's money while Linda stands there sputtering about how this is theft and she's going to call the police. Please do, I tell her. I'd love to explain to the officers how you've been running a scam on your own family. I'm sure they'll be very interested in that video I took. That shuts her up real quick. Patricia's already grabbing her coat and heading for the door. I'm going home. This is insane. Linda looks around the room at her family. Her husband, who won't make eye contact, her kids who are staring at her like they don't know who she is, and me standing there with a phone full of evidence of her crimes. Fine, she says finally. Fine. You want to ruin Thanksgiving? Congratulations. You win. She storms out of the dining room, and a few minutes later we hear her bedroom door slam. The rest of us just stand there in this weird silence for a minute. Then Robert clears his throat. Well, he says, I guess we should figure out what to do about dinner. That's when something beautiful happens. Sarah suggests we order pizza. Jake says he's got a case of beer in his truck. Mark offers to drive to the store and get some real food to replace what Linda ruined. And me, I suggest we move the party to our house. 2 hours later, we're all crammed into my living room, eating Domino's pizza and watching football on my couch. Robert's telling stories about when Mark was a kid. Sarah's showing me pictures of her upcoming vacation. Jake's teaching me how to throw a proper spiral with a foam football. It's the best Thanksgiving I've ever had. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzes with a text from Linda. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family. I show the text to Mark, and he just shakes his head. Mom's always been dramatic. Give her a week and she'll be calling to apologize. But I'm not holding my breath. And honestly, I don't care if she apologizes or not. Because here's what I learned that day. Family isn't about blood or tradition or who sits where at a table. It's about respect, honesty, and having each other's backs when things get tough. Linda spent 3 years trying to make me feel like I didn't belong in this family, but that Thanksgiving, surrounded by people who were willing to stand up for what was right, I finally felt like I was exactly where I belonged. And the best part? I've got it all on video. Mark and I are doing great, by the way. He's been going to therapy to deal with his mom's manipulation, and he's gotten way better at standing up for our relationship. We're even talking about starting our own Thanksgiving tradition, one where everyone gets a seat at the table and nobody has to earn their place by putting up with toxic behavior. As for Linda and Patricia, last I heard, Linda was telling everyone who would listen that I'm a terrible person who ruined her life. Patricia moved back to Atlanta and won't return Linda's calls. Robert filed for divorce 3 months later. Turns out, the food scam wasn't the only thing Linda had been lying about. She'd been stealing from their joint accounts for years, funding shopping trips and spa days while telling Robert they were broke. Sarah and I are actually friends now. She calls me her badass sister-in-law and asks for advice on dealing with toxic people. Jake graduated from college and got a great job. Turns out he'd been stressed about money because Linda kept asking him for loans that she never intended to pay back. The whole family is healthier without Linda's drama and manipulation. We still get together for holidays, just without the lies, theft, and emotional abuse. And me? I'm living my best life, married to a man who finally learned to put our relationship first, surrounded by people who actually care about me. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to a family is losing the person who was poisoning it from the inside. That empty chair at Linda's table wasn't meant to humiliate me. It was meant to show me where I really stood with these people. And you know what? I'm grateful for that clarity, because now I know exactly where I belong. And it's not at a table where I have to earn my seat by tolerating abuse. It's at my own table, surrounded by people who love and respect me for who I am, and that's a pretty great place to be.